They said I didn't need help because I chose this life. I was sitting in a waiting room at the VA when the intake coordinator looked at my file and laughed. Not a cruel laugh, more like a tired one. "You're 24. You did one deployment." She didn't even look up. "We have Vietnam vets waiting 8 months for appointments. You'll be fine." I tried to explain that I hadn't slept more than 2 hours a night in 6 months, that every time a car backfired I hit the ground, that I couldn't hold my infant daughter without my hands shaking so bad my wife had to take her from me. The coordinator finally looked up. "You signed the contract. You knew what you were getting into." I left without an appointment. My wife found me that night sitting in the garage with the car running. She dragged me out screaming, and I just sat on the driveway staring at nothing. I couldn't even cry. The next morning she drove me to a private therapist. $200 a session. We didn't have $200, but she handed over her credit card anyway. Dr. Collins was different. She listened. She didn't tell me I chose this. She just asked what happened over there. I told her about the checkpoint, about the van that wouldn't stop, about how we opened fire because those were the rules, about how when we checked the vehicle, there was no bomb, just a family trying to get their sick kid to a hospital. The father was already dead. The mother was screaming. The kid died in my arms while a medic tried to stop the bleeding. I told her how my sergeant said we followed protocol, how nobody got in trouble, how we got commendations for maintaining security. I told her I got a medal for killing a 7-year-old boy. Dr. Collins helped me file a claim for PTSD. The VA denied it. Insufficient evidence of service connection. I had my combat action badge. I had deployment records. I had witness statements from guys in my unit. Denied. My wife maxed out 2 credit cards paying for therapy. I couldn't work. Every job interview ended the same way. I'd freeze up, forget where I was, start sweating through my shirt. One interviewer asked if I was on drugs. We lost the apartment. Moved in with her parents. Her dad was a Marine who did 3 tours in Vietnam. He looked at me like I was pathetic. "In my day, we just dealt with it," he said one night. "You kids are soft." I didn't respond. Just went to the garage and sat in the car again. But this time I didn't turn it on. My wife's mom found my denial letter on the counter. She read the whole thing. Then she called her cousin, the one who worked for the local news station. 3 weeks later, a reporter showed up at the house. She asked if I'd tell my story on camera. I said no. I couldn't handle people knowing. My wife grabbed my hand. "You don't have to protect them anymore." The segment aired on a Tuesday at 6 p.m. They showed my denial letter. They showed my combat records. They interviewed 3 other vets from my unit who'd been denied for the same incident. Then they showed the footage. Someone had leaked the helmet cam video from that day. The checkpoint, the van, the shooting, including the 7-year-old boy bleeding out while I held him. My phone exploded. Messages from strangers, from veterans, from civilians who'd never served but couldn't stop crying. The VA called the next morning. They wanted to schedule an appointment. Suddenly I was a priority. A congressman got involved, then a senator. The VA director issued a public apology. They approved my claim within 72 hours. But here's what nobody talks about. The reporter who ran the story, the one who finally got someone to listen. She was the sister of the coordinator who turned me away at the VA, the one who laughed at my file. She'd heard her sister complaining about soft young vets at Thanksgiving dinner, started digging, found my case, found dozens of others. The coordinator was quietly reassigned, then fired. At my first official VA appointment, a new intake coordinator greeted me. She handed me a form and said something I'll never forget. "Thank you for your service, and I'm sorry we failed you. I'm in therapy now. Real therapy, covered by the people who sent me to that checkpoint in the first place."